Hello everybody, and welcome back to Super Mario Galaxy 2! Alright, so previously we got to utilize Yoshi and defeat King Lakitu. And now as we continue on, now if we want to progress, we need to get a certain number of stars first in order for us to actually be able to progress. Now, I actually forget how number of stars you need exactly. Yeah, I don't usually check for that. Considering I usually have the amount of power stars I need to proceed on anyway. But anyways, as you can see, now the reason why we need a huge number of star bits is because we once again have the return of the Lumas. Now in Galaxy 1, now whenever Hungry Luma appeared at the observatory, they would just show up. I think it was more random for when they do decide to show up. I honestly don't recall. But for this game, when you just happen to see a Hungry Luma within a world, you can actually decide if you want to call them over to the starship, so then you can feed them the star bits. So then they will of course transform into a galaxy. Now I guess I should say about the Hungry Lumas as well. We still are getting Hungry Lumas that will take a big number of star bits. But there's also going to be Hungry Lumas that actually wants coins. Yeah, that is why when I said previously about you needing to get a whole lot of coins this time around. Yeah, because there's going to be some Hungry Lumas that actually wants a certain number of coins. But anyways, now for the mission that we're going to go through from the Hungry Luma that transformed into flip swap galaxy. Think before you shake. Now, as you can probably tell, this is essentially your game's way of explaining how this explaining to you that there's gonna be some platforms that you essentially have to spin in order for you to be able to get it to be flipped over. And you're going to be utilizing the spin move quite a bit. Yeah, especially when it comes to these platforms here. Yeah, you essentially you can skip a good portion of this. But if you are playing this game for your very first time, I would say practice first before you even think about deciding to skip a chunk of it. A good chunk of it. Yeah. But anyways, now as you see, now this game not only brings back the electric fences, which in this mission, they can actually very much disrupt your progress. If you just so happen to, let's just say for example, if you just so happen to do a long jump, then you just so happen to hit the electric fences, and then you may fall down. Now as you can see as well, now this mission also brings back the regular chomps. Now these chomps, on the other hand, now they are essentially infinitely spawning from God knows even where. And as you saw, now depending on where they drop, those are the platforms where they will go to. So essentially, if they go through a red platforms, then they will continue going down on that path before they actually fall down. So yeah, that's something that you have to keep in mind when it comes to them. But anyways, oh yeah, and as you can see, now at times, throughout the game, at times, as you go through the game, you actually land here because, because Lubba will tell you that you decided to bring back, that you decided to bring in a, NPC who is essentially gonna be chilling at the, starship. And as you can see, now we have ourselves a Star Bunny who's just gonna be chilling and just keep jumping and spinning a lot. Yeah, because that Star Bunny is essentially he's essentially gonna be your tutorial for that you can actually spin jump or that you can actually spin while you jump. Yeah, see? Yeah, you can essentially jump and spin while you are in midair. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, there's not much else to here, so why don't we continue on with the game? But first, now when you see these, you essentially just get, I believe it's either 20 or 30 star bits. So that can still be a little bit of a helpful to you. Yeah, but probably not that much. But anyways, now for the next new galaxy that we're gonna be going to is Spin Digga-Leg. And the first mission for this one is Digga-Leg's planet. That name sort of sounds familiar to a boss that we fought against in the last game. Gee, I wonder who that could have been. But anyways, this galaxy introduces not only some new enemies, but this galaxy also introduces us to a brand new power-up, and it is this thing right here. The spin drill. Now whenever we shake the Wii remote, that's when the spin drill will have us dig underground. And then it will usually take us to the other side. Now I guess I'll just say this as well. The spin drill can only go in one direction as soon as you start. As soon as you start utilizing it. But however, there are going to be some galaxies that can actually make you go in multiple directions with the spin drill. But you'll see on what I mean when we actually get to those points. Oh yeah, and also the spin drill isn't something that you get to keep all throughout the entirety of the mission. Because as you'll see, as soon as we jump into the launch star, we immediately lose it. Yeah, that's something that you have to keep in mind of. And you will also immediately lose it if it doesn't happen to get damaged at all. So yeah, that's something you also have to keep in mind too. Now as for the brand new enemies that we can actually encounter here. Now first off, back on that first planet we saw those drill enemies. Those guys are called Diggas. As you saw, they are essentially like your typical drills they essentially just drill. They just keep drilling along. Until you decide to jump on them. Now, I think this is the only other enemy in the game. I think this is one of the few enemies in the game where the Diggas cannot be where they cannot be defeated by your spin attack. Yeah, pretty sure of that. Oh yeah, and speaking of spinning, now the other new enemy they also introduced for this game are these guys, the Twirlips. Now those guys are essentially tulips, but they really like to twirl a lot. Now you can still jump on them. Even while you're spinning. Just not so much but only on their bulbs. Not so much on the side of them. Yeah, only the bulbs. So only more so on the bulbs if they just happen to be opened up. Now, yeah, you see that? Yeah, you see that? Yeah, you see that little, you see that little bulb on them? Yeah, that's where you can actually jump on them. Now, as you saw, you can still jump on them, even when they are not spinning as well. So, yeah. Now, and I guess I'll just say about the Diggers and the Twirlips. This is actually the only game that we actually get the appearance of these enemies. So essentially this is the only game in the entirety of the Mario existence where we only get the Diggers and Twirlips. Yeah, it's really a darn shame. But anyways, as you see here, this is a place where you can get a whole lot of coins. So definitely utilize that time so you can be able to get a whole lot of coins. But now, with this music, look who's here. We once again have Captain Toad. Now, considering that he's now the leader of the Toad Brigade now. Now that he's got his own spaceship called the Starshroom. Yeah, and we're probably gonna be seeing that once we actually get back to the Starship Mario. Oh yeah, now another returning thing is this Hungry Luma, which you can only give 30 star bits to if you want to get either a 1-up or a life shroom. But I'll say this. Don't even bother getting a 1-up from this guy. Just don't even bother. Honestly, just get the live stream from him. You will be mighty grateful for that. But anyways, as you can see in the background, we're about to take on another boss. Man, another one. This is like our third one, and it's only the first world. Jeez. But anyways, now we have Digga-Leg. Yep, a much more smaller version of Mega-Leg. Now, this guy is considering that we are fighting him on a much more smaller planet, meaning that the only way that you can be able to damage him is by utilizing the spin drill. As soon as he flips his head around. Now, and also now, as you can see. Now, what this guy likes to do is to constantly keep on releasing more Diggers, and he will of course love to and he also loves to jump at you too. Oh yeah, and also, and as you've been seeing, now if you want to get for this fight a lot more easier. Now, as soon as he starts to release those Diggers, as you've been seeing, definitely utilize the spin drill just before they come out of the ground. That will definitely help you out in the very long run. Yeah, and especially when we get to the common mission for this place. Yeah, I bet you could probably tell what I'm talking about. Yeah, and especially for those of you who have played this game before. But anyways, and with that is Digga-Leg out, and we get Power Star number 6. Oh yeah, now this is probably the point where they're gonna be introduced. Now this is probably when Love is probably gonna tell us that the Star Shroom has showed up. Excuse me. But anyways, as you saw, yeah, now we can now get access to not one, but two new galaxies. And yeah, he says, yeah, one of those little guys is back. Yep, the actual starship. Yep, and there's a lovely Captain Toad right there. Yeah. Now, and if you actually want to go to the starship, if you want to be able to go to that Starshroom, yeah, you can essentially just utilize this warpad, which is essentially right next to Mario's freaking earlobe, where, yeah, apparently they put it right next to Mario's freaking earlobe. I guess that's one place to put it, right? Oh yeah, and also, now, what this Toad will tell you, now he says that we found a 1-up, so we are keeping it there for you. And just like with the Yoshi berries, they will always this mushroom will always be respawn as soon as you come back to the starship, or if you just happen to turn off the game. Yeah. Oh yeah. And speaking of which, now you haven't seen any major differences when it comes to the 1-ups yet, because at this point I have not turned off the game yet. But however, what I will say this, when it gets to a point where I will be turning off the game, yeah, you are going to be seeing not only a major difference in lives, but more so, you may also see some slight differences, some slight difference with the star bits as well, because, well, yeah, let's just say, yeah, now if we now as you saw before with the Yoshi berries, now we do get ourselves a 1-up every time we actually eat every single one of those berries. I mean, so yeah, that's why there may be some slight differences when it comes to the differences with difference when it comes to the star bits shit in between videos and whatnot. Yeah, I may as well just let you know this now. Yeah, so that I don't have to get into it later. But anyways, now as you can see, now one of the Toads actually told us where in the world is Luigi at. Now he said that hopefully that he is still back in the mushroom, that he is back in the Mushroom Kingdom. But as you may recall, within the first game, now Luigi didn't exactly stay in the Mushroom Kingdom. Yeah, he essentially got himself caught in the haunted mansion galaxy. Yeah, and then that's when we got to play as him later on after that. Yeah, but anyways, everyone. But that said, that should be all I'm going to do for this part. And so, until the next part, I'll see you guys next time.